Before you spend one more dollar on another tightening product, stop right here and listen closely. Because most people trying to fix sagging skin are aiming at the wrong target. They keep rubbing things onto the surface while the real changes are happening deeper down, in the support layers that actually shape the face. I'm a board-certified dermatologist, and after years of watching people chase expensive promises, I can tell you this with a straight face: if someone says a cream alone will physically lift everything that has started to soften, no. That is not how aging works. But if someone tells you that 3 focused minutes cannot visibly improve how heavy, puffy, tired, and droopy your face looks, that's not true either. Before we begin, please subscribe, tap the bell, and join this channel for simple, science-based health guidance that truly helps. Now let me tell you what this video is and what it is not, because that distinction matters. This is not a magic trick. It is not a replacement for sunscreen, retinoids, healthy sleep, stable weight, or medical procedures when sagging is advanced. And it is definitely not one of those fantasy routines that claims to rebuild 20 years of structural change overnight. What this is a short daily routine designed to improve the things you actually can influence at home: puffiness, muscle engagement, tension patterns, posture inside the mouth and jaw circulation, and how the skin drapes over the support underneath it. Those things may sound small, but on the face, small changes read big. Here is the part the beauty industry rarely says clearly. Sagging skin is usually not just skin. It is skin plus thinning support tissue, plus changes in fat pads, plus changes in muscle tone, plus loss of collagen and elastin, plus gravity, plus sun exposure, plus the little habits you repeat every day without noticing, like clenching, mouth breathing, sleeping on the same side, or carrying tension across your lower face. That is why one miracle serum almost never matches the promise on the bottle. The face is layered. If the problem is layered, the solution has to speak to more than one layer too, even if all you have is 3 minutes in front of your bathroom mirror. And stay with me until the very end, because the final 30-second step is the one most people dismiss as too simple. Then they try it once, and suddenly their face looks less swollen, less dragged down, and more awake before they've even had breakfast. Also, tell me in the comments where sagging bothers you most: jawline, cheeks, under the eyes, or neck. I read those carefully because they tell me what to make next. Alright, let's get into the routine, starting with number 6, because if you skip this setup step, the rest of the routine does not work nearly as well, and that's exactly where most people go wrong. Number 6, the 30-second breath and release reset. I know that doesn't sound glamorous, but if your face is tense, your jaw is clenched, your tongue is collapsed, and your shoulders are creeping toward your ears, your lower face already looks heavier before you touch it. So here is what I want you to do. Sit or stand tall. Drop your shoulders. Unclench your teeth. Let your lips close softly. Put one hand on your belly and take 3 slow breaths through your nose, allowing your belly to expand instead of your upper chest. On every exhale, relax your forehead, soften the corners of your mouth, and let the jaw release. That is 30 seconds, and it changes the starting position of your entire face. Why start there? Because when people think about sagging, they picture loose skin, but they forget how much facial tension can distort what they are seeing. Some people spend all day pulling downward without realizing it: brow tension, jaw tension, neck strain, mouth breathing, chin gripping. So the face never gets a neutral resting state. Even Cleveland Clinic's at Home Lymphatic Guidance recommends starting with breath work and gentle relaxation before facial drainage, because if the body is braced, fluid and tension don't move well, and your routine becomes a wrestling match instead of a reset. You are not trying to force your face upward here. You are trying to remove some of the unnecessary downward pull first. If you do only that first step for a week, you may notice something subtle but important. Not younger, not transformed, just less compressed. And that matters, because a face that is less compressed often looks less tired, less stern, and less heavy around the mouth. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make with anti-aging routines. They start by poking, scraping, pressing, and pulling on a face that is already overworked. But the goal is not to attack your features. The goal is to give them a better resting pattern. In other words, before you ask your face to lift, stop teaching it to brace. That is the foundation. Now we move to the drainage steps. Number 5, the chest sweep that almost nobody does, and almost everybody should. If your routine starts on your cheeks, you're starting too high. When professionals teach lymphatic self-massage, they often begin lower because fluid needs somewhere to go. So take the flat of your right hand and gently sweep from the center of your chest toward your left armpit. Then switch sides, light pressure only. Repeat each side about 5 times. This should feel almost absurdly gentle, not deep tissue, not hard rubbing, not painful. The point is not to mash the skin. The lymphatic vessels are very superficial, which means more force is not more effective here. 30 seconds total. That's it. This matters because a puffy face often looks older than it is and heavier than it really is. Temporary fluid can exaggerate under eye fullness, soften the jawline, and make the lower cheeks look more descended. Even dermatologists who are very honest about at-home limitations still admit that massage gusha rollers and even a simple spoon can help move fluid and sharpen contour for a while. Not forever, not structurally, but visibly. And for many of you, especially in the morning, that visible change is exactly what you are looking for. If the lower face looks less loaded, the skin drapes differently. If the cheeks look less swollen, they look less fallen, even though you haven't lifted anything in the surgical sense. Now, a quick caution here, because I want this channel to be helpful, not reckless. If you have an active infection, severe swelling you haven't discussed with a clinician, or you've been told not to do lymphatic work, skip this part and ask your healthcare provider first. But for many healthy viewers, this step is a smart setup because it makes the next move work better. Think of it like unclogging the hallway before moving furniture through it. If you never open the pathway below the face, all your upward sweeping on the cheeks becomes random rubbing. And random rubbing is exactly how people waste 5, 10, 15 minutes on routines that feel productive but don't change what they see when they finally look in the mirror. Number 4, the neck and jaw drainage glide. This one is simple, and if your face tends to look heaviest under the chin or around the jawline, it can be surprisingly helpful. Place the pads of your fingers just below your ears, near the back of the jaw. Use a gentle circular motion and move the skin downward along the side of your neck toward the collarbone. Do not dig in. Do not scrub. Do 5 slow passes on each side. Then place your fingers at the center of your chin and lightly sweep along the jawline outward toward the ears. Again, keep the pressure light. The entire step takes about 30 seconds. And yes, it should feel calmer than you expect. Why is this one worth your time? Because age-related facial change is not only about collagen loss, though collagen matters. It is also about how tissue sits, how fluid behaves, and how the lower face gets visually crowded. Dermatologists who talk honestly about jowls keep repeating the same point: the lower face changes for many reasons at once. Bone support changes, fat pads shift, skin loses elasticity. Temporary puffiness makes everything look worse. So this step is not pretending to solve every cause. It is simply removing one aggravating factor you can influence today, and that matters more than people think. When the jawline is less puffy and the neck looks cleaner, the entire face reads as firmer, even if the actual biological aging process, of course, is still real. One reason I like this step is that it gives quick visual feedback, and quick feedback keeps people consistent. The fastest way to quit any routine is to make it so complicated that you dread it. But when a step takes half a minute and the face looks a little less heavy after, you actually keep going. That is important because the long-term improvements in facial tone come from consistency, not intensity. You do not need to attack your skin. You need to stop abandoning helpful habits after 3 days. So if your cheeks or jawline tend to look fuller in the morning, do this after a warm shower, keep it gentle, and pay attention to whether one side of your face drains differently than the other, because that tells you a lot. Number 3, the cheek support exercise. This is where we move from deep puffing into muscle engagement, and I need you to hear me carefully here. The evidence for facial exercise is promising but modest. It is not a miracle. But a small clinical study did find that a structured facial exercise program improved cheek fullness and made participants look younger to blinded raters over time. That does not mean one session changes your life. It means the muscles underneath the skin are not irrelevant. So here is the move. Place 2 fingers lightly over the top of your cheekbones. Smile without squinting, then lift the cheeks upward against the gentle resistance of your fingers. Hold for 5 seconds. Relax. Repeat 3 times, 30 seconds, and yes, it should feel a little silly. The reason I like this specific move is that it targets one of the biggest visual shifts in facial aging: mid-face flattening, the look of the cheeks dropping inward and downward so the lower face appears more dominant. When the cheeks lose some fullness and support, everything below looks heavier. That is why so many people say, my jawline changed, when in reality part of the issue started higher. The upper face and mid face set the stage for the lower face. So when you train the cheek muscles gently and consistently, you are not stretching skin. You are giving the tissues beneath the skin a job again. And tissue that has a job often behaves better than tissue that is ignored, which is a good rule for almost the whole body. Also, let's be honest, this is one of those steps that people mock right up until they notice the difference. Not a dramatic movie montage difference. More like this, your face looks less flat, a little more awake, a little more buoyant, especially in natural light. And that is how real anti-aging changes often happen. They don't arrive with trumpets. They arrive with someone saying, "You look rested," or "Did you do something different?" That kind of change is more believable because it usually comes from better support and less facial collapse, not from trying to freeze the face into stillness. If your goal is not perfection but a face that looks healthier, stronger, and less dragged down, this step earns its place. If this video is helping, take 1 second and hit like, because it tells me to keep making practical science-based videos like this one. Number 2, the tongue-to-palate jaw anchor. This may be the most overlooked daily habit in the entire conversation about sagging skin, because people obsess over the outside of the face and ignore what is happening inside the mouth. Here is what I want you to do. Close your lips gently. Place the tongue flat against the roof of your mouth, not jammed hard, just fully resting there. Keep your teeth slightly apart and breathe through your nose for 30 seconds. While you do that, imagine the area under your chin lengthening instead of bunching. That is the whole step. It looks like nothing. It feels like almost nothing, and yet it changes the resting pattern of the lower face more than most people realize. Why does this matter? Because so many adults spend the day with the opposite pattern. Tongue low, mouth slightly open, chin overworking, jaw clenched, neck tight. That posture may not create aging by itself, but it can absolutely make the lower face look less defined and more strained. And when the skin is already losing some elasticity with age, poor resting mechanics show up even more. Remember, skin is only part of the story. The face is skin laid over shape. If the shape beneath is collapsed, tense, or poorly supported, the skin cannot magically present itself well on top of it. This step helps restore a better resting structure to the lower face, especially if your jawline seems to disappear whenever you are tired or stressed. This is also one of my favorite silent habits because you can practice it when you are reading, walking, doing dishes, watching television, or waiting for the kettle to boil. That means the 3-minute routine is not the only time you are helping yourself. You are building better facial posture across the day. And that is how you create real carryover. Quick routines help. Ongoing patterns decide the outcome. So if you try this and think, that's too small to matter, I want you to remember something very important. The face is made of small movements repeated thousands of times. Squinting matters. Clenching matters. Sleeping position matters. Sun exposure matters. So yes, better tongue and jaw posture can matter too. One more truth, and I say this because I respect your time. If your jowls are significantly developed and you want a dramatic, lasting repositioning of the lower face, no home routine is going to perform like surgery. Honest dermatologists say that openly. At-home methods are best for maintenance, prevention, deep puffing, soft support, and modest visible improvement. That does not make them useless. It makes them realistic. In fact, realistic methods are often the ones people stick with longest because they do not betray trust. I would rather give you a routine that genuinely improves how your face looks by 10% than promise a fake transformation and lose you forever when it doesn't happen. Trust is part of good medicine too. Number 1, the cold spoon contour finish. Yes, a spoon, not a device with an LED halo, not a vibrating wand with a luxury price tag. A clean metal spoon from your freezer. Take the back of the cool spoon and press it lightly beneath the cheek, then glide outward toward the ear. Do the same along the jawline from chin to ear. Then hold it for a few seconds under each eye if puffiness is an issue there. 30 seconds total. That is your final step. And no, this is not rebuilding collagen in half a minute. That is not the claim. The value here is temporary de-puffing, calming, and contour refinement. Especially when used after the earlier drainage steps. Even dermatologists who are very skeptical of overhyped beauty trends often admit that cold tools, rollers, gosha, and simple facial massage can help the face look less swollen for a short period, and sometimes that is exactly the difference you need. A jawline doesn't always disappear because structure has changed overnight. Sometimes it disappears because fluid heat irritation and tissue congestion are blurring the edge. Cold helps tighten that visual story. It is not permanent. It is not a facelift, but it can make the face look cleaner, fresher, and more defined right now. And when you combine that with breath, drainage, cheek activation, and better jaw posture, the effect stacks. That is the secret most people miss. Not one huge thing, but several small, useful things layered together. And this is why I saved it for number one, because it gives people a reward at the end. If every helpful habit only pays off in 6 months, most viewers will quit by Friday. But when the last 30 seconds gives the mirror an immediate little shift, you are far more likely to come back tomorrow and do the whole routine again. Consistency loves a payoff, so do not underestimate the psychological power of finishing with something you can actually see. The beauty industry understands that very well, which is why so many products are designed to create the appearance of instant improvement, whether or not they are changing anything deeper. You can use that principle too, just without being manipulated by it. Now let me show you how the entire 3-minute routine fits together, because once you memorize the order, it becomes effortless. First, 30 seconds of nasal breathing and facial release. Second, 30 seconds of chest sweeps to prepare drainage. Third, 30 seconds along the neck and jaw to move fluid downward. Fourth, 30 seconds of cheek resistance lifts to wake up the mid-face. Fifth, 30 seconds of tongue to palate jaw anchoring for better lower face posture. Sixth, 30 seconds with a chilled spoon to calm puffiness and sharpen contour. That is 3 minutes total. Not random, not mystical, not glamorous, just organized. And an organized routine beats a drawer full of abandoned products almost every time, because routine creates repetition and repetition creates visible patterns. Now, here comes the part nobody wants to hear, but everybody needs to hear, because this is where long-term results are protected. If you do this routine every morning and then spend the afternoon tanning, smoking, skipping sunscreen, clenching from stress, sleeping 4 hours, or constantly fluctuating in weight, you are pulling in opposite directions. Skin loses elasticity with age. Sun speeds that up. Smoking speeds that up. Repeated facial movements become more visible as the skin rebounds less easily. Dry skin can make lines look worse. These are not glamorous truths, but they are true. So yes, do the 3 minutes. But also protect the structure you still have. That means daily sunscreen, good skincare, and if a dermatologist has recommended a retinoid for you, consistency there matters too. I also want to say something about expensive home devices, because a lot of viewers feel embarrassed after buying them. Please don't. The marketing is powerful. Some at-home tools can create temporary improvement while you are using them consistently. But temporary and while you are using them are the key phrases. That is why I like simple, low-barrier habits first. They cost almost nothing, they teach you how your own face responds, and they help you separate puffiness from true laxity. That is a major skill, because once you know whether your issue is mostly swelling, skin quality, muscle flattening, or advanced structural descent, you make better decisions and waste less money, which is something I care about very deeply for this audience. And please do not make the mistake of pressing harder because you think harder means better. Especially with lymphatic style massage, gentle is the point. If you scrape, drag, overwork, or aggressively pinch your face every morning, you may end up more irritated, not more lifted. Your face is not bread dough. It does not need kneading. It needs intelligent handling, light pressure for fluid movement, gentle resistance for muscle engagement, calm posture for jaw support, cool finishing for contour. That combination respects the tissue instead of fighting it. The best anti-aging routines are not punishment routines. They are cooperation routines. You are working with the biology you have, not trying to bully your body into being 25 again. So what can you realistically expect if you do this every day? Here is my honest answer. In the short term, many people will notice less morning puffiness, a cleaner jawline, and a face that looks more awake. Over time, what you may gain is better facial awareness, better resting posture, more consistent muscle engagement through the cheeks, and stronger maintenance habits around the lower face. What you should not expect is overnight removal of established jowls or deep laxity caused by significant structural change. I am saying that plainly because honesty is the reason people come back to channels like this one. We do not need fantasy. We need useful truth, and useful truth is powerful enough all by itself. When it is applied every day. The biggest mistake I see is not that people are lazy, it's that they keep looking for one answer to a layered problem. One cream, one tool, one ingredient, one trick, one promise. But the face does not age in one layer, so it rarely improves through one layer alone. The better strategy is a stack: improve drainage, improve posture, improve muscle use, reduce tension, protect collagen, protect elastin, stay consistent. That stack is not flashy, which is exactly why it works better than hype. Hype wants you impressed. Biology wants you consistent. And if you choose biology over drama for long enough, the mirror usually gets kinder, not because time reversed, but because your daily inputs got smarter. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for something expensive, try this instead. 3 breaths, chest sweep, neck glide, cheek lift, tongue anchor, cold spoon, 3 minutes, and done. Then give it a real test, not 1 day, not 2, but 2 to 3 weeks of steady repetition. Watch what changes first. Is it the puffiness under your eyes? Is it the heaviness around your mouth? Is it the way your jawline looks by mid-morning? Is it the fact that your face looks less tense even when you are tired? Those are the real early wins. Small on paper, big in the mirror. And once you see them, consistency gets much easier because now the routine feels earned. Now I want to hear from you. Which part of your face bothers you most right now? The jawline, cheeks, neck, or under eyes? And which of these 6 steps are you starting today? Put that in the comments. If this helped you, share it with one person who keeps saying, "I look tired all the time." Because sometimes what they need is not another product recommendation, but a better understanding of what their face is actually asking for. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. And in the next video, I'm going to show you the bedtime mistakes that quietly make sagging look worse by morning. Take care of your face gently, and I'll see you in the next one.